The dashboard of the 2012 Subaru Outback lit up like a Christmas tree before letting out a tragic mechanical sigh. "You've got to be kidding me," Chloe muttered, her hands gripping the steering wheel as the car rolled to a pathetic halt on the shoulder of Route 66. Outside, the Arizona desert stretched endlessly, a sea of sagebrush and cracked earth baking under a relentless afternoon sun. From the passenger seat, Harper pushed her vintage sunglasses up into her tangled blonde hair. "Well, at least the scenery is consistent." In the back, Avery popped up, her phone held high like a beacon. 0 bars. Literally 0. "If I die out here, please tell my TikTok followers I love them, but I couldn't survive the aesthetic." Chloe rested her forehead against the steering wheel. She was supposed to be the responsible one, the one who planned this post-grad road trip. But as the desert heat began to seep through the windows, her meticulously color-coded itinerary felt entirely useless. "Look," Harper said softly, her voice carrying that low, raspy calm that always made Chloe's heart do an annoying, involuntary flip. Harper pointed through the windshield. A quarter-mile down the shimmering asphalt stood a neon sign, buzzing faintly even in the daylight. The Starlight Motel. Vacancy. The Starlight Motel looked exactly like a place where horror movies begin, but to three heat-exhausted girls, it looked like the Bellagio. The lobby smelled of stale cigarettes and cheap pine cleaner. An ancient fan oscillated in the corner, barely disturbing the stifling air. "Room 4, the clerk grunted, sliding a heavy brass key across the counter. "End of the hall. AC's loud, but it works. Door sticks, so give it a shove." The room was a time capsule of 1970s burnt orange decor. 2 double beds, a flickering vintage television, and a bathroom with avocado green tiles. "I call the left bed," Avery yelled, immediately face-planting onto the floral quilt. Chloe dropped their duffel bags by the door, turning the deadbolt out of habit. As she pulled her hand away, the entire metal lock mechanism gave a sickening crunch and detached from the doorframe, falling to the carpet with a heavy thud. The room fell dead silent. Chloe stared at the piece of metal on the floor, then up at the door. She jiggled the handle. It spun uselessly in a full 360-degree circle. She pushed. She pulled. Nothing. "Did you just break the door?" Harper asked, a slow smile spreading across her lips. "It broke itself," Chloe defended, throwing her weight against the heavy, warped wood. "It didn't budge a millimeter. We are literally locked in." Avery rolled over, pulling a pillow over her face. 3 women. 1 motel room. No exit. Sounds like an indie film that wins awards at Sundance. "Avery, call the front desk," Chloe said, her panic rising. Harper picked up the dusty rotary phone from the nightstand, held it to her ear, and shook her head. "Dead. And we still have no cell service." She sat down on the edge of the second bed, looking up at Chloe. The amused spark in her dark eyes was entirely unhelpful for Chloe's racing pulse. "Looks like we're stuck here until the clerk does his rounds. Whenever that is." By 8 p.m., the loud AC unit had sputtered and died. The desert night had fallen, but the heat trapped inside room 4 was thick and suffocating. They had raided the mini-fridge, surviving on lukewarm Diet Cokes and a questionable bag of pretzels. To pass the time, Avery had instated a mandatory game of truth or drink, though they were drinking tap water out of plastic cups. "All right, Chloe," Avery said, sitting cross-legged on the floor. "Truth. Why did you really invite Harper on this trip?" The air in the room suddenly felt a lot heavier. Chloe's eyes darted to Harper, who was leaning against the headboard, idly tracing the floral pattern of the quilt. They had been orbiting each other for 2 years. Endless late-night study sessions, lingering hugs that lasted a second too long, and a near kiss at a New Year's party that they had both silently agreed to pretend never happened. "Because she's my friend," Chloe said, her voice tighter than she intended. "And she knows how to read a map." "Boring answer," Avery groaned. "Harper, your turn. Truth. If the world was ending right now, in this terribly decorated room, who would you kiss?" Harper didn't hesitate. Her gaze lifted, locking directly onto Chloe. The playful demeanor vanished, replaced by something intense and grounding. "Chloe." The word hung in the sweltering air. Avery looked between the two of them, her eyes widening slightly as she read the sudden electric tension. She cleared her throat, suddenly standing up. You know what? I am going to go take a cold bath, Avery announced, grabbing her phone and a towel. I'm going to fill the tub, put on a podcast, and pretend I'm at a spa. Do not disturb me unless the building is literally on fire. The bathroom door clicked shut, leaving Chloe and Harper alone in the dim amber glow of the bedside lamp. She did that on purpose, Chloe whispered, suddenly acutely aware of how close the walls felt. Probably, Harper agreed, shifting on the bed to make room. She patted the space beside her. Sit. You're pacing like a caged animal. Chloe sat, keeping a safe distance, but on a double bed, safe distances were relative. The heat in the room was oppressive, but the heat radiating from Harper was a different kind of entirely. Did you mean it? Chloe asked, the words tumbling out before her brain could stop them. What you said to Avery. Harper turned her head. They were close enough now that Chloe could see the slight dusting of freckles across Harper's nose, visible even in the low light. I meant it 2 years ago at that New Year's party, Harper said, her voice dropping to a murmur. I meant it every time we studied in the library. And I definitely mean it now. Chloe's breath hitched. She had spent 2 years building a fortress of practicality, convincing herself that ruining a friendship wasn't worth the risk. But stranded in a broken-down motel, with no exit and nowhere to run, the fortress felt incredibly flimsy. Harper reached out, her fingers lightly brushing a stray lock of hair behind Chloe's ear. The touch was electric, sending a shiver down Chloe's spine despite the sweltering room. You always overthink everything, Chloe, Harper whispered, her eyes dropping to Chloe's lips. Just for tonight. What if you stopped? Chloe didn't answer with words. She closed the agonizing few inches between them, pressing her lips to Harper's. It started soft, hesitant, as if they were both testing the reality of the moment. But the second Harper's hands moved to frame Chloe's face, years of suppressed tension shattered. The kiss deepened, sparking into something desperate and consuming. The heat of the room was forgotten, replaced by the rush of tangled limbs, breathless sighs, and the heavy, intoxicating pull of finally giving in. Harper pulled her down onto the mattress, her lips trailing a burning path down Chloe's jawline. Every touch felt like a confession, a silent map of everywhere they had wanted to go for years. I've wanted to do this since the day I met you, Harper breathed against her neck, making Chloe gasp. Then stop talking, Chloe whispered back, pulling Harper into another bruising, breathless kiss. The morning sun crept through the gaps in the heavy blackout curtains, painting a bright, blinding line across the floor. Chloe woke up to the sound of heavy footsteps outside. She shifted, instantly aware of the arm wrapped securely around her waist. Harper was fast asleep, her face buried in the crook of Chloe's neck, her breathing slow and steady. A sharp, metallic clatter echoed from the hallway, followed by a muffled voice. Hold on, I got the master tools. Avery poked her head out of the bathroom, her hair wrapped in a towel, looking infuriatingly refreshed. She took one look at the two of them tangled together on the bed and smirked. Well, Avery whispered loudly. Glad to see someone enjoyed the apocalypse. Before Chloe could shush her, the wooden door suddenly jolted, groaning in protest before finally swinging open to reveal a sweaty, apologetic motel clerk holding a crowbar. Sorry about that, ladies, he wheezed. Lock jammed. You're free to go. Harper stirred, blinking against the sudden intrusion of light. She looked at the open door, then up at Chloe, a slow, brilliant smile breaking across her face. No rush, Harper murmured, pulling Chloe just a little bit closer. I think I'm starting to like this place.